Hello and welcome to another episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. This is Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor and we are ready to begin LOTRO's new expansion, Legacy of Morgoth. We've done everything we needed to do before starting, but I thought I would share with you the last thing that I got before starting the journey. First of all, the deed, the Song of Waves and Winds, so that we can see how many chapters were added. 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 chapters. That's not bad at all. And I just added the expansion to my account, the base version only, but that's enough for what we need. And it came with this very cool title, The Fire of Morgoth's Legacy. You are a light against the darkness in all its forms. And we still don't know what Morgoth's Legacy is, so I think for the time being I'm gonna stick with this title, Bane of He Who Sees All. But after we discover what Morgoth's Legacy really is, I think it would be really nice to switch to that title. So I hope I don't forget, and help me remember in any case, please. Anyway, now that we have completed the Song of Waves and Wind, not the Song of Waves and Wind, sorry, the Tales of the Kindred, we can pick up the Song of Waves and Wind right where we left, and that is with Jade, outside of Tarlaja.
A number of unusual folk were looking for you. I trust they were friends of yours?
A number of unusual folk were looking for you, Beriathan. Some elves, a dwarf, and a few others I deemed travelers from Gondor. I trust they were friends of yours. They asked if I had seen you of late, and when I told them you often have business within the meeting hall of Tarlaja, they gave me a message to pass on to you. Jaith rests his weapons against one shoulder while he tries to remember the message. Yes, I recall the words, fear not. They say they have engaged the services of a merchant vessel and plan to return to their own lands, but they wish to bid you farewell before they depart. They ask for me to send you onto them in the sail haven by the beacon gate on the west side of the city. They assured me they will not leave until you spoke with them, but the honor of my station begs that you will not delay. Okay, so it seems our friends are leaving. The beacon gate, yeah. Okay, for this one, I think we can just use our regular master. And we'll see who really will be saying goodbye today. I really was not expecting this. I kind of hoped all my crew to be coming with me to the lands beyond, but Elrohir and I will guard Nimrodel with our lives. The crew of the Whip Hunter and others of your friends make ready to leave the city. So all of you are leaving. I don't think Sigileth and Corudan would be leaving. I expect them at least to come with us. Gangor, yeah, you would also remember I told Nauriel I had thought she would have left with Thorongil a long time ago. Well, we have just realized in LOTRO time it's been like a day or 2 at most, so it kind of makes sense. Rossaran and Bruidis, I guess they need to take care of their own matters in their home in Tadrent. Sad to see them go. Please tell me Legolas and Gimli are not leaving either. I can see them bringing news to LSR, but I would really love for them to stay, as well as Elladan and Elrohir. But we'll find out soon enough. But you know what? If we are truly going to be saying goodbye to our crew, I think we need to make the most out of it while we can. For Gimli here, it's, oh my god, getting them all in the frame, it's a little bit difficult. We can do like this, maybe like this. Rossaran and Bruidis, Nauriel and Thorongil, good old Gangor. Sirgon, are you leaving as well? And what about Gallingam, now that I think of it? Because yeah, let me double check We had 10 members on our crew. We had Sigileth and Sirgon, Legolas and Gimli, Elladan and Elrohir, Rossaran and Bruidis, Nauriel, Gangur. So we're missing Galengam. We're missing Daxamat. And who else are we missing? Of course, Gwalang. Yeah. Well, Daxamat will be staying. That's safe to assume. Gwalang also made a very beautiful nest, so I don't think he will be leaving. But I'm really surprised about Galengam.
There you are.
I was not certain the guard posted at the meeting hall would give your message in time, but it seems he proved worthy. I am surprised. Still, I welcome it. Has my mood been lightened by our success? How could it not? The purpose that brought us to these shores has been satisfied. My son Thorongil has been rescued from the clutches of the Kindred of the Coins, and we must go now to the green hills of Pinnath Gelin. My husband Carandolion will be pleased to see his son's safe return, and his wife's triumph. Yes, I say triumph, though my vengeance being complete and those responsible for the hurts done to my family remain unpunished. The elf warrior Sigileth advised me to set aside my desire for vengeance, and while I refused to do so forever, I told her I would not delay returning my son to his home to achieve it. But that was not all. I enlisted her promise not to forget injustice done to my family. That was not all. I didn't see the dot there, the period. I enlisted her promise not to forget the injustice done to my family, and if she has the opportunity to make hated Nakási pay for them, she will do so. I have only known Sigileth for a short time, but I believe she will do as I have requested. It is only this that allows me to live behind the city and its treacherous rulers. We are leaving Beriathan, and it is just as well. Ever since Azagath Sea Shadow and Nakási Wave Reaper fled from the Citadel of the Winds, I have been itching to return home and tell Orgolas all my friends about the adventures. And all my friends about the adventures. God, what's happening to me today? I have been itching to return home and tell Orgolas and all my friends about the adventures I have had since coming here. They will not believe me, but perhaps when you come back to Pinnath Gelin you will tell them it is all true? They will be astounded. My mother refuses to tell me much about what befell your own ship when it ran aground upon the Shield Isles as you journeyed to Umbar, but I overheard the captain of the vessel we are taking back to Gondor discussing the voyage ahead. He believes the currents and the winds will be favorable, and the journey should not take very long or be very dangerous. That is a shame. I imagine being shipwrecked can be pretty exciting, and I would like to see for myself just once. No, you don't. Nauriel shakes her head disapprovingly. As well she should. That's not an adventure fit for a child. Yeah, I'm kinda surprised that Nauriel is leaving. For getting her vengeance, well, getting Thorongil back home is a good argument. And having Sigileth take care of it for her, it's another good argument that confirms that Sigileth and Corudan will be coming with us. And I think this is done. I was gonna talk about this later, but I think this is done so that all the mandatory and optional crew members are sent away, so the devs don't have to worry about creating different versions of the epic quests that will account for which crew members you have or have not recruited, which, as Maid of Lions mentioned last time, was a lot of work. So I understand why they do this, although I am a bit saddened to see my crew go. And as a side note, it's kind of crazy to believe that it's been a whole year for us since all this happened, since we met Thorongil and Nauriel, since Thorongil was kidnapped. It's crazy to think all this time has happened already. What about you, Nimrodel?
It is time for me to return to the caves of the Avorrim in Belfalas.
But I have made a decision. I will bring my people from the cavern that has been their home, and we will no longer mourn but rejoice in the light of the sun and the feel of the breeze. Nimrodel smiles gently at you. Perhaps by the time we arrive I will be ready to do this, my friend. It is one thing to speak it and another to see it done, but that is the wish of my heart. Lothiriel will help me in this, I am certain of it. A number of your friends have agreed to escort me home, Beriathan. I hope you will forgive my taking them from you. With solemn reverence, Nimrodel chosen bodyguards salute you. So yeah, you're taking Elladan, Elrohir. Legolas and Gimli, I'm gonna miss you all, guys. You send them off with a proud salute. Yeah, you really deserve it. You earned it.
Queen Arwen and King Elisar would never forgive us if we allowed any harm to befall Nimrodel during her journey.
I volunteered at once to accompany her, and Elladan and Elrohir also wished to do their part. To my surprise, Gimli has also asked to come along, and I am glad of it, but his reasoning is clouded to me. He wants to hear from Nimrodel about the caves in which her people dwell, for some project upon which he wishes to set his mind. The thinking of dwarves is beyond me, Beriathan, but I am happy for his company all the same. So they are tying this up with Gimli's work at the Glittering Caves, so with that in mind, I'm a little bit more willing to forgive Gimli for leaving, and Legolas as well, so... Very well played. Very well played, LOTRO team.
I do not know why Legolas is so surprised.
I do not know why Legolas is so surprised that I wish to accompany him as he escorts the elf Nimrodel back to her home. I have been moved by what he has shared of her story, and it brings to my mind some of the greatest love stories ever told among the dwarves of Durin folk. Beautiful tales, lovely and sad. Gimli coughs and sputters. When he has recovered, he continues gruffly. Legolas and I vow to travel with each other to see places dear to each of us, for me the Glittering Caves and for he the Forest of Fangorn, then to compare the relative beauty of each. I should fear to let him out of my sight lest he forget his promise. Gimli looks down at his boots and speaks more quietly. But of course, I will feel more at ease if Nimrodel was protected by the axe of a Haildorf warrior. She reminds me of Lady Galadriel, and I would see no harm come to her. Yeah, very well played. Sad to see you go, but when you put it like that, there's really not a lot that I can do.
Oh, I am not leaving with them. I feel that I still have work to do here.
And I would appreciate your continued help. Together I hope we might ease the tensions between Gondor and Umbar, and further the cause of peace between King Elisar and the Kindred of the Coins. So Sirgon is staying, that's good to hear. Rossaran and Bruidis didn't say anything, but I assumed they would be leaving.
We will begin today, if you are willing.
When you have bid farewell to the crew of the Wave Hunter and your other friends, there is something I must ask of you. Belondor desires to meet with the two of us in the Citadel of Winds, the better to discuss our next course of action. And we have seen why Belondor has decided to step into the fray now, after what happened at the Mâkhda Khorbo. So yeah, I really enjoyed Belondor's quest last episode. Really helped us getting to know him more, but also connect with him a little bit more as well.
Your friends will be safe on their journey back to Gondor. I doubt it not.
It is my belief and my sister's that we remain closer to danger than they. We have achieved a tenuous peace with those who rule in Umbar for now, but we should not forget that the Kindred of the Coins may have secret purposes of its own. Azagath kept the evil in his heart hidden from those with whom he ruled the city. Might the members of the Kindred who remain act similarly? Yeah, I'm not so sure about Koltik and maybe Hármelak, but I will talk about Hármelak later. Sigileth and I have decided to stay here in Umbar and help you in the days to come, but heed our words now. Remain cautious when you speak with the Kindred of the Coins. The gravest threat among their number may have fled the city, but I believe those who remain could still pose a danger to you and to Gondor.
It is true. I caution Nauriel against pursuing her vengeance against the Kindred.
It was the lesson of cruel dancer who was once Galatani that caused me to speak such words to Nauriel, and that also makes a lot of sense. So this was not as much of a band-aid as I initially thought. There are very important reasons for all these crew members to be leaving. If she followed the road of vengeance to its end, as did Galatani, would she ever return from it? Or would the road curve and bend with retribution following her back to Pinnath Gelin? I do not remember the name of Nauriel's husband, but if she achieves her vengeance, would it stop there? Or would he be endangered? Their son too, for whom this was done, would he be threatened anew? The lesson of cruel dancer inspired me to steer Nauriel from this course. I have accepted the burden of vengeance on her behalf. She has my promise that my sword Paugililtir will seek the blood of Azagath Shadow and Nakási Wave Reaper.
Are you ready to go? Let us meet with Balondor about what awaits Gondor and Umbar in the days ahead.
He has invited us to the Citadel of Winds and assured us of safe passage there.
Balondor wishes to discuss with us what the future may hold for Gondor and for Umbar.
Let us go. How many hallways and staircases must we take to arrive at our destination, Beriathan? I have already lost the path back to the entrance despite my best effort to remember it. What must the Kindred say to us that they cannot say in Darlaja or in the main hall of this citadel?
This way, please.
We're gonna meet the entire Kindred or just Balondor? It's another good question. The entire Kindred, okay.
Your guests have arrived, Lady Hármelak.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the Kindred while I take a couple pictures, because as Sirgon said, we can trust Balondor. I think he has proven he's an honorable man that can be reasoned with, but the other members of the Kindred, I am not so sure. I have never trusted Koltek. He's too cunning and sly for my taste. It seems he's keeping some secrets to himself after we finished his quest. Hármelak is not fully reliable either. You would remember how she manipulated some people at the end of her quest. I didn't like that either. And Rothak seems very straightforward, but he is 100% loyal to Hármelak, so on that account we cannot fully trust Rothak either. So yeah, I think Balondor is our best bet, but I've also been thinking about it, and I think even though King Elessar might see this to be true, he will not push for Balondor to take leadership of the Kindred, to take the throne of Umbar or anything like that, because it might seem like he's trying to get a Gondorian to rule Umbar and to turn Gondor into an empire, so that doesn't sound like the best political decision. So I think King Elessar will do what's best for everyone and pursue an alliance with Hármelak. I think that's what's gonna happen by the end of all this. I am pleased the two of you accepted our invitation to meet. We have much to discuss about the days ahead, and I believe the decisions we make here today may affect the fortunes of both Umbar and Gondor. The people welcomed my kindred with glad hearts, and cheered as we cast off the yoke placed upon our city by the Empire of Ordâkh and the heirs of Castamir. But such a change was not without cost, and the coffers of the city are at a low ebb. I have contributed much of my own fortune to the effort, but even my own great wealth cannot support the city indefinitely. War is expensive. Our wish is to spend no further unless we must. How does Gondor feel on this matter? Does this King Elessar desire peace? He must know the coursers of Umbar retain ships enough to make him suffer for any war he begins anew.
King Elessar desires peace. I know it will be so.
Peace may be the friend of cowards. He must respect the might of Umbar.
Are not some battles won or lost before they are ever fought, Rothog?
What? No?
Guardsmen, I must ask that you leave us.
Are you certain, my lady? These outsiders may try to harm you.
With Rothog here, I do not think we need worry.
Very well, my lords and lady. Now there are fewer ears to hear what you have to say, Hármelak. I must once again voice my dissent. These are kindred matters.
Your objection is noted, Holtec. Before we discuss our next move, we must speak of the past.
Interesting. The Empire of Ordâkh and its Church of the All-Seeing held Umbar in the grip of fear, while the heirs of Castamir carried out their commands. But that fear was founded upon the terror of the Dark Lord and his powerful servants. When the great quake sundered his land of Mordor and caused the collapse of his temple, we who watched and waited knew our time had come. The number of our conspiracy was few, but we believed the people would join us when they witnessed the vulnerability of the Empire, and how near the heirs of Castamir were to defeat. When no vengeful wraith emerged from the ruins of the temple or swept towards us from Mordor, the people knew Umbar could be theirs again. With a fleet from the south, Azagath's sea shadows swept into the Gulf of Umbar. It was poorly defended now, with much of its powers gone to the coast of Gondor, captured or burned. The Umbari rose up in open revolt, thus beginning the Seaston Mutiny. Those of the heirs who resisted were slain without mercy. Others either lacked courage or possessed wisdom and fled. Some of these were Saklafel, the widow of Balakhôr the Scourge, and a number of her personal guards. It is believed she hides now among the Shield Isles and seeks to retake the city in her husband's rule, but she has not the numbers. Not all of the heirs were slain or escaped. Before he could take command of a ship and flee to Sail Haven, our forces captured Balakhâd, the 20-year-old son of Balakhôr. We held him here in the Citadel of Winds, in this tower room, and counted him a valuable hostage.
Why have you not ransomed the son of Balakhôr to his mother Saklafel?
I think I know why.
Could that not end the threat posed by the heirs of Castamir?
That was the idea.
Mere weeks ago, Balakhâd disappeared.
Alright. Not exactly what I had in mind, but it's a lot less morbid, so I think it works better. Only members of the Kindred of the Coins knew the identity of the man we kept in this room, Beriathan. Even the guards did not know. They were told he was awaiting execution for crimes against the city. Their loyalty to the Kindred cannot be questioned. One day, Balakhâd was safely imprisoned, as he had been for months, and then one day he was not. If the guards can be trusted, how did Balakhâd leave this tower room without being seen? Belondor shakes his head. The problem is more difficult than that, for the Citadel of Winds stands upon an island. Could he escape onto one of the ships and flee that way? It is hard to imagine, but neither could he walk past that many guards posted on the island and then across the bridge back to the city without being seen. He is not the only person who seems to have disappeared that day. One of Azagath's servants, a water carrier by the name of Sadûkh, cannot be found. Did he help Balakhâd to escape? And if so, where might he have hidden the son of Balakhôr now? It beggars belief that such an important figure for the Airsworn can remain hidden for so long.
It may be happenstance. Umbar Mok can be a dangerous place.
Who said anything about Umbar Mok?
Where else might Balakhâd have vanished from sight?
Sadûkh served Azagath. It may be he spirited Balakhâd out of the city, and now seeks to rejoin his master.
I think I remember Sadûkh, to be honest. And I had completely forgotten about Balakhâd and Saklafel, but of course this is how this entire questline began. Investigating the rumors of the Scourge. That's what got us in this maze in the first place, so it seems we need to take care of that. We need to take care of Tathatha, we need to take care of Azagath and Nakási. We have a lot of things to do. Azagath hid his true nature from us. None suspected his true allegiance lay with Sauron, and now he seeks to follow the map he took from the Mâkhda Khorbo to some unknown end. I say we cannot know his purpose in this, but can there be any doubt that such a map can lead only to sorrow for the people of Umbar Baharvel? There was a time when Nakási Wave Ripper would not have followed Azagath on such adventure, but I deem her mind is now clouded by the grief and rage that swells within her breast. If the map taken by the two of them leads to some weapon of evil, can you say for certainty that it would not be used first against Umbar and then against Gondor? I see two important purposes along the road ahead, Beriathan. First, we must prevent Azagath and Nakási from locating the evil they seek. Secondly, we must find Balakhâd, son of Balakhôr, and make him once again our captive. Only then will we reacquire our bargaining power over Saklafel and the heirs of Castamir. These twin curses will bring the instruments of our will out of the city and into the wild land of the east and south.
A small company must prevent Azagath and Nakási from finding the evil they seek. Who will volunteer for this adventure?
My business with the traitor Azagath is still undone. I will accompany you, old friend. What say you?
Of course, count me in.
Your courage and your skill on this adventure.
Are you with me, Beriathan? You are sure, Sirgon, that you will stand with him on his adventure, and he smiles broadly. I did not doubt it for a moment, my friend. I dare say the elves will also wish to accompany us. I met each of them only days or weeks ago, but I already know them to be strong and capable, each in their own way. And I witnessed Sigileth's great courage when Fortunil and Storm Natural threw the Wave Hunter onto the rocks of the Shield Isles. Who else will accompany us?
If Hármelak believes you can manage the rule of the city without us,
Oh boy.
I will join the pursuit of Azagath.
I am more than capable of it, Kingsman Coltec.
I would like to test my gold dishes against these fools that claim to be friends.
Then the traveling company is set, and the quest is laid before you.
Alright, so we're taking everyone then. Much will depend upon how well you perform upon this adventure, Beriathan. I have not forgotten that the people of my city think highly of you and believe you should join our kindred. Let this quest serve as your trial, with Rothak, Belondor and Coltec to serve as your judges. They will assess your performance and how you conduct yourself on behalf of our shared interests. Those of Umbar... Sorry. Excuse me. And those of distant Gondor. Prevent Azagath and Nakási from following their map to whatever evil Sauron left behind and making use of it against us. So too should you seek Azagath's former servant Sadûkh if he seeks to rejoin his master. He may tell you what he has done with Balakhâd, son of Balakhôr the Scourge. If you can recover Balakhâd alive, we may be able to end the threat posed by the heirs of Castamir forever, and that will benefit not just Umbar but Gondor as well. The lands outside the city contain perils and dangers the like of which few among you have ever faced. It will take some time to prepare the caravan that will take you out of Umbar and into the lands where your prey has vanished. Come to Darlaja after this, and we will make such preparations as you will need. A new adventure begins, Beriathan. The weight of the years has fallen from my shoulders, and I am ready to set foot upon the unknown road once again. Let us prove our mettle and that King Elessar chose his champions and his friends well and ably. Okay, that's it. This is a very cool premise to start an expansion with, if you ask me. And unless I am deeply mistaken, it gets right into the action, which is something that the Umbar expansion really struggled with for a while.
Near Harad? I know very little of these lands, but I will not turn away from the mission that awaits us.
If the capture of Azagath and Nakási will help maintain the peace between Gondor and Umbar, I would pursue them to lands both distant and dangerous, no matter how far the chase takes me from the sea where my heart dwells, or from my home and family in Lebanon.
Hármelak spoke of the need for many preparations before our traveling party can depart.
I hope it will not take too long before we are ready to leave. Every day wasted means our quarry gets further and further ahead, calling into question the success of our pursuit. Go to the meeting hall of Darlaja and urge them to hurry. You may be able to speed their preparations if you offer your assistance. Leave the city behind, part 1. Alright, we're gonna spend a long time in here. Oh my god, we're in the Citadel of Winds? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Ledger Keepers. Even though the milestone would leave us a little bit closer, I don't think we will need to return to the Umbar box, so I would like to avoid that if I can. Of course, there are some preparations to be completed, and so even though we already know what we need to do and where we need to go, we cannot leave just yet. Still, it's still faster, I believe, than the entire first half of the Umber expansion, because we still needed to bring Elazar's party to West Gondor and to Amphalas and to Pinnath Gelin, and only then did Thorongil get kidnapped. So it was a lot to finally be able to sail for Umbar, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. We'll see how long these preparations are.
I believe the errant members of my kindred prepared for an overland journey even before they recovered the map.
I believe the errant members of my kindred prepared for an overland journey even before they recovered the tapestry map from within the Mâkhda Khorbo Beriathan. Perhaps they were aided in this by the secret wealth gathered by Sharula and others of her sort, scoundrels hiding their true nature behind their faces. I have seen this before. But we must take time to prepare our own pursuit, or we doom it to fail before it is begun. The lands east of the city into which Azagath and Nakási have fled are treacherous and full of danger for the unwary. Caravans leave Umbar Baharbel and follow the road of riches eastward along the Ecorban River before turning south and crossing the rocky waste that marks the edge of the Great Sands. From there it is a long, inhospitable trek to the desert kingdoms of the south, from which great wealth flowed to us and back again. The treasure from the south has slowed in recent months. Can it be due to anything but unrest in the Empire of Ordâkh following the war? Caravans are now slow to depart from Umbar, and that will make their masters hungry for work. I have written an offer of employment for a caravan driver, his animals, and sufficient supplies for the journey. Bring it to Jack Peter outside of the Forum and he should accept its terms without difficulty, but before you depart Darlaja, you should speak with the other leaders of the Kindred about their own preparations. They may have some tasks for you as well. Hármelak gives you a set of orders to deliver to the caravan master.
Azagath betrayed the city and its people, but that is not the extent of his evil.
The cruel sorceries he wove inflicted terrible pain and death upon the men under my command, and those are the hurts for which I will make him pay. My wife Meshka knows the direction of my thoughts, and she has encouraged me to follow where my heart leads on this matter. Still, she did not know it could take me far from the city and into the wild lands east of Umbar. Will you speak with her and learn if she would have me stay? Whatever she decides will become my curse, and I will not gainsay it or act in any fashion opposed to her mind. Afterwards, if she gives her approval, I will join you and the others at the east gate of the city.
It is not a habit of mine to set forth upon a journey without knowing where it will end.
But none of us can say precisely where Azagath and Nakási might be bound. If only Velondor had thought to lay his eyes upon the tapestry map when he first came to the Mâkhda Khorbo, our circumstances now might be rather different, and of a more beneficial flavor. But they are not, and the duration of our pursuit cannot be determined. We must prepare for a long journey and hope to be too well supplied rather than not provision enough. As it happens, I own a controlling interest in a number of warehouses in the city, and I can ensure most favorable rates for the provisioning of our party. Bring this order to Ilbidun at Stonecliff Market in the Lower Ward, and she will see that it is filled. Koltek gives you a set of orders to deliver to the warehouse keeper.
My coalfishes have become dull from recent use. That business with the drake, Ragrakul.
For a journey of this sort, I need them sharp. I will go to Dahalhulis later today and leave them with Mehamun for sharpening. He can do the work while I visit with my good friend Hurshauk. This parchment contains a list of other things I want to bring with me on the road. Give him that and tell him I will expect everything to be prepared when I arrive. Rotha gives you a set of orders to deliver to the arena armorer. Awesome! And I really enjoy that the epic is mentioning basically everything we did on the Tales of the Kindred. We saw a mention to Sharula from Hármelak's quest. Of course, the map that we found with Belondor. We even got a mention of Ragrakul from Rothlock, and I really was not expecting that. Because I was a little disappointed with the Dragon and the Storm and how little storyline was on that instance, but it is referenced. The only thing that we have not seen directly referenced so far is Koltek, but maybe when we get to the warehouse we'll get more information about this. Oh, Meshka! Meshka is already on the way to see her husband.
You wished to speak with me?
You tell Meshka that her husband asks that you find her and see what she thinks of his plan to pursue Azagath and Nakási into the wildlands east of Umbar. I am on my way to see him about this very subject, Beriathan. He has my support in this as in all things, and I plan to tell him that in person. I hope you will stand beside him and protect my Belondor from any dangers the two of you may face upon the eastward road. He will do the same for you and for the others of your company, I am certain of it. Well, good to know. Good to know I don't need to get out of the way to find you. We're almost done with that. No, we are done with that with Belondor now. The forum in the upper ward, the lower ward, and the Tor-gardens. I really don't want to fight through the Tor-gardens again. Maybe I will use the Umbar Mâk for that. I don't know, let me think about it.
You have a caravan order for me from the Golden Queen?
Yakbeard takes the parchment from you and studies it closely. At last he looks up at you. The road of riches has always been dangerous for caravans such as mine, remaining a favorite target of brigands and waylayers. But in these times of tumult it has become more treacherous than before. I understand the Ordâkh fight to maintain their grip on trade with the Desert Kingdoms despite their failing empire, and when whisper of merciless phantoms and spirits hiding in the night's darkness seeking vulnerable prey. Whisper of merciless phantoms and spirits hiding in the night's darkness seeking vulnerable prey. I will see what I can do for the Lady Hármelak in honor of our long and profitable relationship, but I fear I can't promise little, you understand. That doesn't sound good. Come on, we are already at the Tor-gardens. Maybe we can avoid some of these guys. Maybe we can even just run straight ahead for the arena and avoid any unnecessary fighting. Let's see how lucky we are. Lots of guys. But yeah, I don't think we need to worry that much. There we go. That was quite simple. All right. the barber panel, I think it's now dynamic sizing. But I mean, this one is already bigger than it was before, right? I think it is. I think it is. And the character panel, I think, can also be resized now, but I will need to double check that on the release notes.
What? You have an order for me? From Rothog this storm?
You hand the parchment to Mechamon and he slowly reads its contents, sounding each word aloud as he does. I am not a learned man, stranger, but providing weapons and armor for Rothog and his hoolies required me to become a swift pupil. The only thing more quick in all the city must be the rate at which he dulls his hoppishes. When he arrives to see Hurshawk, I will sharpen them, and of course we will provide the rest of the items on this list, if they are to be found anywhere within Dahal Hoolies or the storage rooms located beneath the arena. But can you tell me this? If Rothog is leaving the city, who will stay behind to feed Hurshawk? None of my fellows dare approach him. Who is Hurshawk? You are sure, Mechamon, that you do not have the answer to that question? Yeah, I have no idea who Hurshawk is. Well, just saying hi to Poker. A little nice skinny over there. We are all checking this. Hurshawk. Is he... I mean, that doesn't ring a bell from the arena instance, the 6-man. So yeah, I'm not sure. What are you talking about? I am really inclined to look it up now. Luckily, here we have the stairs down to the lower ward, so we can avoid more fighting and still complete Koltek's request, hopefully on time. Stonecliff Market. There are so many markets in Umbar that I really don't remember which one is the Stonecliff Market. But there we go.
What have you brought me? An order for supplies for a caravan leaving the city?
Ilbidun takes the parchment from you and reads it. By the time she has finished, her wordless grunts match the number of times she has shaken her head. There was a day I might have fulfilled this order, but it is months gone now. Ever since we accepted Koltek's offer of providing guards for the warehouse, items both large and small have gone missing in surprising quantities. I am not blaming the dwarf, you understand, but it is curious. Nothing more than that. As a result, we may have some difficulty fulfilling this order. I will see what I can do. Yeah, there is something going on with Koltek. You cannot convince me otherwise. Stjolt? Oh my god. Who was... Yeah, I'm gonna... return the salute. And now that we are at it, well, let's fight this guy. But yeah, Koltek definitely has something up his sleeve. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he ends us betraying us at some point during the expansion. I mean, I think they are building him up for that ever since he was first introduced on Daxamat's story, Jajax, whoever told it. I mean, Koltek, I don't think I'll ever trust him.
you are, my friend. I see that the Kindred of the Coins have kept you busy making arrangements for our departure.
While I waited, I pondered the road ahead of us and came to a realization. I know very little about the lands and kingdoms to the east and south within the Harad beyond the Cape of Umbar. I do not want my lack of knowledge about this area to hinder our pursuit, Beriathan.
I find myself thinking about the Gondorian scribe that sailed with us on the Wave Hunter. Yes, Caebar.
I find myself thinking about the Gondorian scribe that sailed with us on the Wave Hunter, Beriathan. Yes, Caebar. When last I spoke with him, he said he had found employment in the Tor-gardens performing the duties of a scribe for an esteemed scholar of Umbar. Perhaps he will introduce us to his employer, and this man will tell us what we need to know about the lands of near Harad into which we must travel. Scribes and scholars gather upon the terrace west of the arena in the Tor-gardens. I would there begin the search for our friend Caebar. Alright. Had also forgotten about Caebar. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I had expected him to also go back to Gondor. It's kinda surprising that he decided to stay. But maybe he will have a good explanation for it as well. As good an explanation as Legolas and Gimli's, for example. Now, a terrace in the Tor-gardens. I have no idea. Okay, seems there he is, right? Yeah, okay, awesome. Cool.
It is very good to see you again, my friend.
Caebar claps you on the arm and listens to the account of your recent adventures. I confess you have made yourself more useful than I. Perhaps it is because I am a man of Gondor and the folk here distrust me. Well, they would distrust me as well. But Ghâlim has been slow to include me in the lessons he administers to his other students. Instead, I have been given the duties of a servant, sorting jars of ink, picking berries for pigments, running errands for the scholar and his fellows. These are not complaints. When I chose to make a new life for myself here in Umbar, I knew where I must begin. This is merely the first step. If you help me finish my tasks for today, I will introduce you to Ghâlim, and he will have much to say about the geography and history of near Harad. Today I have been charged with picking the berries that color the pigments used for scholars' ink here in the Tor-gardens. I have almost collected enough, but if you help me, the work will be sooner complete. The berry bushes are just down the steps to the east. I was saving the nearest ones for the tax ends, so it would seem to go more quickly as I tired of the errand. There is a nice idea, and now that you mention it, and after seeing what happened to Caebar's family in Ethering, I think it's also really easy to see why Caebar decided to stay in Umbar instead of coming back to Gondor, so once again, well played, LOTRO devs, very well played. Now I am playing the expansion on release date. These episodes will come out a little bit later than that, but I think that's part of the lesson that I learned on the previous expansion, because in order to release the episodes as soon as the expansion released, I had to record and review and upload them on a really short amount of time, and that was not stressing per se, but it was some extra work that took away from my enjoyment of the expansion. So I don't want to avoid that same feeling this year. So in the end, it worked out for the best because I still had some episodes to release, and I released them as soon as I could, and that gives me about a month, almost a month, before these episodes of the Legacy of Morgoth start releasing, and I hope that will give me enough time to record plenty of episodes and review them and upload them without feeling burnout. So hopefully that's what will happen.
Yes, thank you. These should provide the amount of pigment for which I was made responsible.
The scholars of the Tor-gardens go through a lot of ink and a lot of scrolls as they perform their work. Be glad that today was very picking rather than parchment making, for that takes much longer. I had thought Ghâlim would be back by now, but he has not returned. He may still be at Quenched in the northern reaches of a place called Camravesur in Umbarmagh. I overheard him talking about having to go beneath the city for some reason, but his task may be taking longer than he expected. If you find him at Quenched and tell him I have finished my own task, he may be willing to impart the knowledge you need. I hope he is safe. I have heard that passages beneath the city can be dangerous. They are indeed. Quenched. Okay, we are really close to the entrance, and maybe we don't need to fight to get to the Umbarmagh again. It makes sense that the Adepts would find a reason to send you back to the Umbarmagh one last time. I mean, they created a space, they would be remiss not to use it, I guess. Door. Yeah, this is the door. And this will take us to Quenched. Yep. Ah, there we go. You have found Caebar's teacher Ghâlim.
Yes. Oh, I am in no danger.
You tell Ghâlim that his student Caebar was worried about him, and the man laughs. Oh, I am in no danger. I have come to the passages beneath the city in search of a book that has been misplaced. Has my student already finished the task I set before him? You assure him that Caebar has done well, and he suggested that Ghâlim might answer your questions about the lands east of Umbar. Ghâlim looks at you appraisingly. It is true, I could do that. Unfortunately, there is still the matter of this misplaced book, and I can answer no questions until I have recovered it. If you retrieve it for me, I will be happy to instruct you. The book is called Canesh Tubuhara, and its author is unknown, which only adds to the tome's allure. It may be somewhere far to the south in the halls of Harkafar here in Umbarmagh. The gladiators that roam those halls believe the book possesses some secret sword art, and they are always stealing it away with the hope that may learn the technique. Okay, so in that case, I think we need to
Umbar is a free city at last.
Travel to Hulsidar. And from there to God, I forgot the name. These names are a pain. Harkafar. God. Alrighty, we avoided the bat. Cool. Now onwards to Harkafar. We're already here, yeah. Maybe there will not be that many enemies, yeah, because there's a lot of people running through the quests. So I don't need to fight, that's cool. You pick up the book Quenched to Hara, taking care not to damage it. Okay, cool. Avoided the fight. That's one downside of doing the content on release day, especially expansions. Of course, there are also some downsides, but I'm focusing on the positive today. Alright, here we are back at the Hulsidar, so we just take another swift travel. There we go, that was really short.
This is not the only time the Hulis Verina have stolen away Quenched to Hara.
This is not the only time the Hulis from the arena have stolen away the Quenched to Hara. The legend of that tomb grows with every passing year, and no amount of study has yet convinced them the arts contained within are beyond their possibility to learn. For me, the technique is of no interest. I am attracted to the beauty of its unknown author's prose. He or she named it Quenched to Hara, which means Road of Bending Reeds in the language of the old Shagâni. I thank you for returning it to me. Shagâni, I believe. But let us climb now to the surface and join my apprentice Caebar where I left him in the Tor-gardens. Then I will answer whatever questions you may have for me. Your recovery of Quenched to Hara has earned you some of my time. Ghâlim tucks the book under one arm and limps by the door to the surface. Okay. Yeah, let's see if this ends up loading. Caebar, thankfully, it's also really close by. We'll see what he has to say.
My teacher, Ghâlim, has suggested that I begin the lesson, so I will do the best I can.
So I will do the best I can. I must warn you, I do not know a great deal about near Harad. Ghâlim shakes his head in disapproval.
Already you have betrayed your lack of knowledge, young Caebar.
You are not to blame for it, but you hail from Gondor and your words reveal it. Near Harad, you named that land but you speak in error. That is the Gondorian name for that place. Indeed, Harad is an Elvish word. It means south, for these lands are south of Gondor and that relationship has been one of uneasy tension or of war. To the folks who live there, it is named Shagâna, the fair land, but even that makes too simple a more complicated healthy. Simple, more complicated reality. Sorry.
Tales from long ago speak of a green and fertile land threaded with mighty rivers.
Shagâna, the fair land. Yes, it was fair once. Tales from long ago speak of a green and fertile land threaded with mighty rivers. The men who came to that place worked the land, their crops thriving, and they harvested valuable spices and rare wood from the forests and gold and jewels from beneath the hills. But that was long ago. The wealth of Shagâna was like a campfire set up on a hill, and covetous men saw it from far away and hungered for the spices and the rare woods and the gold and the jewels. These men came from even further south, in Jarmat, which my student Caebar might call Far Harad, but they came too from Kant in the east. They came from other directions as well, from the west and from the north. They came from Númenor and later from Gondor. The Shagâni numbered these among their cruelest oppressors. Oh.
I understand the actions of Gondor in the south may appear unjustified to the Haradrim, but
none who joined the armies of Sauron can claim to stand on the side of justice. How can the people of Harad Caebar spotters to a halt? How did the folk of Shagâna come to stand with Sauron, Ghâlim? Did they not oppose his evil? Were there none who fought his domination?
Throughout the lands of the south, he was known as He Who Sees All, or Barhush.
And he came to dominate various smaller kingdoms and in time even the great Empire of Ordâkh. Those who opposed his rise were slain in terrible number, and as the power of these kingdoms grew, so too did that of Barhush. Fewer and fewer stood against the might of this Dark Lord and his servants, and more believed that his and their strengths might serve to drive back their ancestral enemies, the Kandari, the Númenóreans, the Dúnedain, the Gondorians. You ask how Barhush came to dominate the fair land? That was the foundation. His church ruled through fear, but so too did it promise something the Shagâni had sought for centuries: victory over their enemies. Was it a lie? Perhaps it was, and the execution of that lie would forever change the face of Shagâna and the fate of its people. But I have grown parched. Bring me a jar of water from the fountain down the stairs to the east, and I will tell you how Barhush and the vast empire he now controlled conquered the fair land and transformed it forever. Yeah, I didn't know Ghâlim's account was gonna be this long, and it would be really anticlimactic as well to cut it short. So let us grab the water as fast as we can. It's not this one, or maybe it is. Yeah, no. God, where are the stairs? Really want to see the end of that story. I guess I should have done what I saw the other player do and just jump. I'm trying to take the immersive route here. Oh boy. Yeah, I think I took the wrong turn. Oh boy, so wrong. Yeah, I truly have no idea. Yeah, back at the green gate? No, this is no good. This one? Jar of water. But it seems... Oh, thank God they left. Oh my God, was it really this simple? Boy.
Thank you for this water. It will prove most helpful with my demonstration.
He takes a brief sip of water from the jar before continuing. East and south of Umbar beyond the marshlands of Umbarul, there was a green and fertile plain called Sugadin, bordered on the south by the river Usal. That waterway formed a natural barrier between Shagâna and the land where originated the great southern empire of Ordâkh. Ghâlim appends the jar you brought him and spills the water onto the ground.
It is the most valuable of all the resources to be found in this part of Middle-earth.
more valuable than any of Lady Hármelak's golden coins or the Avashal prize by Kinsman Koltek and the Temamir dwarves. Water. Only with it can crops thrive. Without it, life cannot survive. You will notice its absence within a day. Within 3 days, you would kill to acquire it or perish yourself. But water can be even more valuable than this. Water can protect you from your enemies. It can serve as a barrier, and if that barrier disappears... Ghâlim falls silent, considering the ground by his feet where the water he poured has already soaked into the gaps in the cobbles and vanished. 200 years ago, a terrible drought and famine fell upon the green fields of Sugerin where once thrived the abundant kingdom of Nisaka. The river Usal ran dry, leaving only the arid and cracked channel that was once its riverbed. Desert claimed the Kuth, and the fertile land on either side of the Usal became the Lachetin, the Witherlands. This distressing process came to be called the Great Dearth, and the lands through which the Usal flowed never recovered. They will never be green again. The drying of the river Usal removed the last barrier between Shagâna and the great southern Empire of Ordâkh. The armies of the Ordâkh marched north into Shagâna and brought formerly separate kingdoms under the control of the Hull of Ordâkh and the Dark Lord he served. Most learned men believed the Great Dearth was not caused by nature, but was a result of Ordâkh sorcery given to them by Barkush. Ever was the Dark Lord seeking to remove the barriers between the lands under his control and those he sought?
Can this be true? Can the sorceries of the Empire of Ordâkh truly have such an effect?
Upon something so large as a swift flowing river? Caebar immediately puts a hand over his eyes. No, I am being foolish. How could I have forgotten the terrible smoke that Sauron sent before his armies during the war? The day without a dawn came to all of Gondor, darkening even distant Ethring, where my family lives. My mother and uncle resented my absence on that terrible day and the weeks that followed, but I witnessed it in Minas Tirith and knew the despair of it even as they did. Of course Sauron could grant to the Ordâkh such terrible powers if it served his evil purposes. Caebar removed his hand from his eyes, now widened with sudden realization. Ghâlim, have you ever heard of something called the Song of Waves and Wind? Could it be some tale or legend of Sauron or Ordâkh? Might it be related to the Great Dearth that dried the river Usal and brought the desert to Shagâna?
The Song of Waves and Wind? No. I'm not familiar with such a tale or legend as that.
The lands to the east and south of the Keep of Umbar contain many mysteries, and the histories of the people who dwell there are complex. It could be the mention of such a thing as simply buried, or lost to time. Water and wind are both of great significance to the people who dwell in Shagâna, for each have greatly affected their lives across the centuries. If your travels bring you to these lands, I advise you to listen to the folk who dwell there, for they will be better teachers on such matters than even I can claim to be, with all my renown. I sense now that I have given you what instruction you sought, and I must take my leave. Perhaps one day my student Caebar will be able to share such knowledge as this with you, but he is still young and unlearned. It will be some time. Thank you again for the return of Kanash to Buhara. I bid you good fortune if your journeys bring you into Shagâna. Farewell.
Thank you for providing this helpful instruction to us, Shalim.
I appreciate your teachings and for imparting this knowledge to the both of us.
Part of me wishes I could come with you on this journey, but a greater portion knows I cannot.
After all, I was quite near to not surviving my last adventure with you, and might have perished among the rocks of the Shield Isles when the Wave Hunter ran aground during the storm. I hope some of the good fortune that spared me will attend you on your next adventure, my friend, and I will eagerly await your safe return to Umbar when it is done. You will have to tell me all about it. But now you plan to return to Darlaia and see how fared the preparations of the Kindred of the Coins? Such things must happen more swiftly in Umbar than in Gondor, for the Kindred possesses all the power of a king, but there are many more of them. Yeah, it seems we are about to be leaving. I hope there is no part 3, but who knows? This is a jump to the meeting hall. Okay, I don't know if I want to take that shortcut because that does seems really handy, but that is a matter for a future Beriathan, because we have reached the end of today's episode, and for the time being, well, this is all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, my friends, stay safe, take care, Good luck to you all, and I will see you later.